Hi, I'm Dr. Connie Mariano. Welcome to House Calls. This is our November show, and truly, this is the happiest time of the year for me because so many fond memories come through, and it's always, I think, a season of light and joy and ways to inspire and help people. And I think of the month of November in a particularly special way because it's a month of remembrance, especially as a veteran, of remembering service to our country and why that is so important, but also of family and friends as we gather for Thanksgiving at the end of this month. So as I start off my shows, I do the honorable mentions, and these are people who this month in November are celebrating birthdays, and I know they do tune in because they tell me they do. The top of the list is Ron Burns, who I've known for 24 years, and he actually is a neighbor of mine. I see him often in the parking garage. So happy birthday, Ron. Tom Scaglione, happy birthday. Margie Jones, who is the grandmother of my two sons, and Mother Margie turned 95 this month. So God bless you, dear Margie. God bless you. Judy McGuire, happy birthday. Gail Clifford Hutton, happy birthday. Dr. Jeffrey Zeig, happy birthday, Jeff. Mark Brinkmeyer, Bob Houston, Georgia Bunn, who's been on our show before. Happy birthday, Georgia. Sally Gardner, Dr. Christine McKenna, who was in the Navy with me, a fellow veteran. Franklin Brown, Vicky Valdez, dearest friend of mine who's been probably my oldest friend, not in age necessarily, but I've known her since we were 3 or 4 years old when our dads were stationed together in the military. Also, happy anniversary this month to Paula and Alan Sears. Also, Georgia Bunn and Tommy Strassner celebrated 1 year wedding anniversary on Georgia's birthday, and I had the honor of doing their wedding ceremony here in town. They have a wonderful story. It's about a widow meeting a widower and falling in love and getting married, and I call those re-newlyweds. So they celebrate their first year of being re-newlyweds. So November 11th is Veterans Day, and we honor our military veterans of the U.S. Armed Forces. We salute the men and women in uniform and those people who have served in uniform. I think of my own life and how the U.S. military has played a very significant role. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the U.S. military. My father joined in the 1940s. He grew up in the Philippines. He and his brothers and uncles joined back in the 1940s when the U.S. had an agreement with the Philippine government that if you signed on to join the U.S. Armed Forces, came in as an enlisted, and then became an American citizen, you too can have a career in the military, come to the U.S. and start your new life. And that was really my father's path out of poverty and to come to the United States. I was born on a military base 70 years ago. And I think my life of aviation began when I was 3 days old. I was a medevac from Sangley Point Naval Hospital to Clark Air Force Base on a helicopter because I would not eat. My mom said I was not very good about taking the breast or the bottle. They tried to hydrate me, and so they had to medevac me on a helicopter. So my airtime began at the tender age of 3 days of age. And so the military saved my life through military medicine. And I think of what veterans deal with. It's one of those few jobs that the reality is that you could die. You could die in your job. Now, how many people sign up with the company, and part of the contract is be aware that you could die in your job. Would you be willing to give up your life for your job? And very few companies do that. We know firefighters, law enforcement, medical people who are sent into the field. That is one of the risks they take. And so God bless our military for doing that, being separated from their families. God bless the families who have dealt with separation when a family member is stationed overseas or deployed. They're not there to be there all the time. So I think of all those things that I've learned in the military, and it's really impacted a lot of my values about looking at life and service. And somebody asked me, well, what did military life teach you of being in the Navy for 24 years, but having gone to the military medical school and being a Navy brat? And I call them my 5 basic principles. And the first one we talk about in the military is the mission comes first. And what is it about that's important to you? What is your mission? Separate from personality or politics, what is the mission? What is your duty? What are you meant to do? As a business owner, what is your mission of your company, right? And mine is to provide excellent care to all our patients as a business owner, as a practitioner. The chain of command is just how things are done. Things are done in a certain manner. There's certain people you go to, and it's something that we respect. You can't jump the chain of command by going straight up to the CEO's office. There's usually a protocol, an orderly protocol that gets things done. And that's one of the things we obey and we listen to in the military to make decisions. The third aspect is I really believe in is taking care of your troops, that you take care of the people who serve with you. I never say so-and-so worked for me in the military. I say we serve together. And when you look at civilian life outside the military, if you own a business, you work for a company, you're only as good as the people who answer your phone. You're only as good as the people who greet your clients. You're only as good as the people you hire, as well as the people who clean your building, who maintain your security. So they're all extensions of you. So you make sure you take care of them. You make sure they grow with the company, that you teach them as much as you can to reflect the good things about your company, but you also take care of them. So important. Don't burn your bridges is important because it is a tough world out there, and you never know when you're going to need somebody's help in the military or in whatever job you have. Sooner or later, you're going to need someone's help, and it's your contacts that are so important. The final thing, of the final top 5 things I learned from the military, is you serve a higher purpose, you serve a higher calling. What is your higher purpose? And the way you can look at it, why were you brought into this life? What is your life purpose? Is it a particular profession? Is it in the family you raise? Is it the children you bring into this world? Is it the book you write, the painting that you create? What is it that you were brought here to contribute to this life and the people around you? And in the military, you serve a higher purpose. You serve the purpose of defending this country against our aggressors, and you keep us safe. And so you sacrifice that. So for me, looking at the places I've been in my life as a physician in the military and all those things have really helped me a lot. In the business world, I think often about those things, and they've really helped. So the theme of service is very, very important in the month of November as Veterans Day comes. But I also wanted to talk about how other people serve others that are important, how they serve through volunteer work, how they serve things that they do it freely without payment. And that is true charity. That is true giving when you do it, not because you want to be paid, but because you believe in it. And you do it really through the 3 T's, through your time, your talent, and your treasure. And I have somebody here who is somebody who has immense talent, and she is a treasure in many ways. And I've known her 24 years as a dear friend of mine, and it's Laura Ziff.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here, and especially during the month of November.
Well,
It's really
I've known
special.
you 24 years, and you've actually been on my show at least twice, I think. You've been up talking about your career because you'd had an incredible career in business, but it's the life that followed afterward, of what you've given to so many people, and a lot of things without any desire for recognition. I mean, you do it privately. There are times, but before we go into it, I mean, people want to know, what did you do? What were you all about? And I've got your bio, and people say, well, what was Laura about? What did she do in the business world? And you are retired now, but you're the founder of the Associated Asset Management, AAM, which is your company, and you devoted over 30 years to elevating standards in the community association management industry. And actually, I know several, because I've lived in places that were managed by your association. You started your career as an educator, and you moved into real estate and banking, and you built a unique experience before establishing your company in 1990. So you're probably one of the women who just went out there and you grew your company. You created, developed it, saw need. Your leadership transformed AAM from a regional startup into a company managing more than 1,100 communities across 12 states, recognized for operational excellence and integrity. But throughout your career, you championed continuous education, strategic innovation, and strong partnerships, which really is the secret to your success. And you've served on boards and homeowners groups. You're recognized as one of Arizona's residential real estate leaders and legacy, and your legacy continues in AAM's culture of service and commitment. And, you retired young, but you went on to do amazing things. Can you share what you've done since
I think
leaving
we
the
must
court?
have met when we were 12,
Yeah,
right?
we're just little kids. Absolutely.
It was challenging when I stepped away from my business because that was my identity. That was who I was. And I needed to figure out who I was going to be in the next chapter. And because of my business, it has given me the opportunity to pursue my passion, which is photography. Retirement has given me time for family and friends that I didn't have. I was working 40, 50 hours a week if I was lucky. So now I have time for them, but traveling and exploring new places is what gives me joy. To have the time to go somewhere and meet new people, explore cultures, see different things, and to capture those moments. One of the things that I absolutely love is to share my stories. And there's people, obviously I've never met them, but they'll send me messages and they are, for whatever reasons, and I never asked, they are homebound and they can't leave their homes. And they thank me for sharing the world with them. And that gives me joy. And I've had really nice conversations with them.
I have seen your photography, and you capture the essence of the message is there, and they're
you.
spectacular. I mean, little did you know that one moment you're a successful businesswoman, and art was calling you. I think in a lot of ways it feeds your soul. What feeds your soul, for me, it's my writing. It's communicating. For you, it's your eye, and the eye is a window to the soul. That you can capture all these foreign cultures around the world and capture the beauty of what you do. And I wish we had those pictures, and you can share them on your website online for people to do that.
If you drop me in the middle of nowhere with a camera, I'm happy.
Yeah. But did anyone ever teach you that? I mean, did you take lessons or study that?
I was always afraid to take classes because I thought it would like mess up my brain. I've had the privilege of traveling with some wonderful guides who were incredible photographers, and so I've learned along the way. I've absolutely learned along the way.
But you've captured things that are very striking to do that. But, you know, we did, I know a podcast that we did about traveling the world and touching the people there. And in a lot of ways, I think you're an ambassador. When you travel around the country and around the world, really, in foreign countries, different, you're just the pleasant American who goes out there and reaches out to people, and how tribes in Africa will approach you and talk to you and just feel a kinship out of respect.
An amazing experience. I wish I could show the video here, but I had taken photographs of a tribe called Dakota, and they're in Africa, and basically it's a matriarchal tribe. The women are in charge. And I took pictures of them. This just happened about 3 years ago, and then I came back 2 years later to that same tribe, and I showed them those photographs. And oh my God, they were like hugging and dancing and singing, and it was a really magical moment.
Isn't it
was
amazing?
Really special.
That there's no language there. They saw the
could
vision
not speak to them.
and they captured that moment that you honored them.
Yeah.
But you know what amazes me too, and you're very busy, you know, you're live, that you're sharing that you did volunteer work for one of the groups here in town. Can you share a little bit of your past volunteer work?
For years, I volunteered at Andre House, and they serve the underserved, those that are experiencing homelessness. And I always think, there for the grace of God go I.
Yeah.
It could be any one of us walking down the street, whether they had medical issues. And to speak today, many of them sadly are veterans.
Yeah.
They truly are veterans, and they're living on the streets. And they are so grateful for you to acknowledge them by name and to say hello and to look them in the eye. Andre House does incredible work. I'm planning on starting again after February, because I'll be here for a significant amount of time. And Yeah, you know, I believe I've learned much more from them than I've given to them.
But I think a lot of my friends and who do that, who give of their time, it makes you appreciate how much you have.
Oh, so
you
many
know,
blessings.
how much more that the moment that hits you. uh, I remember when I used to travel with the president, and we had done a state visit of the Philippines in Manila, and we were going through one of the poorest parts of Manila, and we're in the presidential motorcade, and I'm in the spare limousine, and we're armored glass and all that. But alongside of the road, and you've seen this before in third world countries, are these little kids, these little street urchins with no shoes, tattered clothing, and they're coming up to the limousine, and they're putting their hands on the limo, and the guards are trying to keep them away, and we're waving, I'm seeing these little kids, no shoes, very poor, and there go, by the grace of God, go I. I am on this side of the glass. I could have easily been born there.
Sure.
And then you have to ask, well, then I need to do something with the position I'm in to help
Absolutely.
those who don't have it.
Absolutely.
You brought up veterans, and they have a high suicide rate, high mental
Horrible.
illness rate. I mean, it is heartbreaking, and it is a crisis among our veterans, is mental illness and PTSD, and just trying to get them the help they need. But, God bless you for doing that. You've learned so much about service organizations. What do you tell your friends who say, hey, Laura, I want to go, I want to volunteer? What kind of advice do you give them?
I tell them just do it. And you know what? And don't overthink it. People think, oh, I'm scared. I won't know what to do, or I won't know what to say. If you select, and it doesn't have to be the homeless. It doesn't matter what it is. It's something that resonates within yourself that will make sense to you. And you may have many more skills than you think to offer, especially as we get older, some of our experiences to share. And I always tell them, if you don't like the first place you go, try someplace else, but just do it. And truthfully, working at Andre House was one of the most satisfying things ever in my life. It filled me up.
That is it, because you can give to those in your way of your time. So now we're getting towards Thanksgiving. And how do you typically celebrate Thanksgiving?
With a lot of food, with family and friends, and I love to have everyone at the house, and everybody brings food and cooking, and we always start off with what are we grateful for, and to go around the table. And it's been interesting seeing children get older and how that changes and what's important for them. When they were little, they were grateful for their new toy, and now they're married, and it's a whole different ballgame.
So what are you grateful for?
Oh my gosh, it's too many blessings. I'm grateful for family and dear friends like you. I am truly grateful for everyone in my company. It's no longer my company. It's like having a child. You can't
It's your
give
job.
it away.
Yeah, right. But it's always part of you.
I'm grateful for the incredible employees in my company that grew it. I cannot take much credit. They did all the heavy lifting, and the management team is still there after 20-some years. They're
That's
incredible, and now there's over 1,000 employees. And
Did you ever think it would grow that big?
Oh God, no.
You never
Gosh, no.
imagined.
No. Beyond my wildest dreams. And I'm grateful to have the time that I have to do the things that I love, and to be on the right side of the earth at this point in my life, and healthy.
Yeah.
So many friends are not healthy.
Well, do you mind? I wouldn't give the name, but about your friends that you reach out. I mean, in the forum, that is your charity. That's your way to volunteer, reaching out to friends who are sick.
Yeah, and I'm truly grateful, because if they had been sick when I was younger, like in my 40s or 50s, it would have been quite the balancing act. Number one, I wouldn't have wanted them sick at that age, but between trying to build a company and home life and friends, and now I have the gift of time to be with them, and I'm just so grateful to be able to spend time with them, even if we don't do anything, even if we go for ice cream, even, whatever we do, but to have that time with them.
Well, I joke with my patients who retire, who bemoan the fact that all they do is see their doctors. I said, but maybe that's what happens when you retire. You have time to go to your doctor's appointments.
Yeah.
So it says a lot for not retiring, keep working. But they really needed the time to really take
Exactly.
care of themselves. But you brought up a good point about just, it's how you spend your time of anything. That is the most valuable thing is your time. And if you spend it helping others, as you are doing, and honoring their time, but really reaching out to help them,
Yeah.
I think that brings a lot of joy. And it's really the joy of that time that you spend, but it's also being grateful.
So
And you're
grateful.
probably one of the happiest people I know, because you don't go around bemoaning life is miserable. I mean, you've always been upbeat. You and I have been through the loss of husbands. We've been through that. We've been through loss of friends. So many transitions. But you keep going. You never are the victim. You never blame. Oh, it's my fault. Somebody else's fault. It's just the way life is.
I always say, life is short and then you die. And so how are you, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to spend it?
Yeah,
How are you going to spend it? And I think one of the other blessings of getting older is choosing. When you're younger, you don't necessarily get to choose all the people that you're with because maybe you're working with people that you have to. But when you're older, you get to surround yourself with people that bring you joy and happiness. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Well, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for having you in my life as really a friend, and to learn from you and your travels and your wisdom. But I think of my Thanksgiving. I'm grateful to have come to this country, to be an American, to have served in the military, to learn all the things I've ever learned. And I actually spoke at a university. I spoke at Stevens Institute of Technology last week as part of a leadership conference. And one of the things I told the undergrads, don't be afraid about failure.
Exactly.
They think, oh man, I can't get into that field and get that job. I go, there's a reason. It wasn't meant to be.
Exactly.
And just say, hey, what am I meant to learn? What am I meant to learn? And don't beat yourself up. You didn't fail. You had an opportunity to learn something new. You weren't meant to do that. You're meant to do something else. And I think this time of year, I honor the veterans, but I'm also so, so grateful for the life I have. I would have never imagined the life I have at this point.
Me either.
Despite the people who've passed in this life who are no longer here, they're in my life for a reason. Every single one of them was in my life for a reason. And I'm grateful for my family and my friends and my faith. But I'm just grateful for the life that God has given me. And I ask for the guidance and the health to continue. So this is going to be a short and sweet podcast so that you can go enjoy your holiday Thanksgiving turkey and all the fixings, because we always look forward to that.
Exactly.
So any last moment advice you want to give our audience?
Just don't, as you just said, when you spoke to your college students, don't come from a place of fear.
Yeah.
There's nothing that horrible that, take a deep breath, and there's a reason it's happening, and there's something you're supposed to learn from that, and just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward.
I think it's the progress. They were saying about people who seek happiness, and it isn't, they find a lot of times once they get what they wanted, they don't have as much. They're not happy. But on the way to it, they're happy because they're making progress towards that endpoint.
Yes.
Because once you achieve it, it's like, okay, I'm done. But so what's next? But I think when you look back and say, how much did I grow? Did I make progress? And if you can list all the things to which you're grateful, then you're in a good place.
Absolutely.
Then you're in a good place, and to be at peace. So with
And
that,
I am grateful for you in my life. So grateful.
Thanks, my dear friend. So with that, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and, surround yourself, as Laura says, with people who make you happy, because the most important thing you have now really is your time. So use it wisely. Select wisely those people around you. You know when they're good for you because they lift you up. They help you grow in so many ways. They don't push you down. They lift you up. So those are the ones you should have around you, and be grateful for that. So I'm grateful for having you listening to this podcast, and have a wonderful holiday season. Take care. God
Happy
bless.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.